Hey guys, and welcome back to another Hardware Canucks review. We have an Obsidian on our hands today, so quite a bit of hype on this one because it stands in the lowest price bracket between the entire Obsidian lineup. You guys are looking at the Corsair 350D, priced at $110. Now, from the initial glance, it is sized as a usual mid-tower, but unfortunately this is a micro ATX case. The aesthetics, of course, are extremely elegant. It's basically a miniature version of the 900D. Very solid construction, and of course that beautiful tinted side window, brushed aluminum front panel, and the built-in case feet that really brings it all together into one attractive package. Now for the front panel, we have power and reset buttons, chrome-plated audio jacks, and two USB 3 ports. Moving down, we have two 5¼ drive bays, and notice the panel is solid without any ventilation, so your fans will have to work extra hard pulling air in from the outside openings. Behind the cover, we find a dual dust filter with an included 140mm intake fan. Now also notice the extra ventilation cutouts on the frame to allow a bit more air penetration. Now at the back we have a second fan for exhaust and 5 PCI slots. Now this is a micro ATX case after all. And of course a removable dust filter underneath your power supply. Now dual fans can be installed on top with included rubber grommets to absorb any vibration, especially if you are installing a radiator, but also something to keep in mind is the clearance for that 8-pin CPU cable. Probably best if you route it first prior to mounting the radiator, as it does block both top rubber grommets. Now moving on, taking off the side panel, the case internals look a little different from what you usually see from Corsair. We still get a toolless 5¼ mount. Now they've also added a dedicated SSD cage with the usual hard drive cage at the bottom. The SSD cage can simply be removed if you don't need it, but it can also be repositioned right above the hard drive cage. For example, if you want to have all your SATA cables sort of concentrated at the same spot instead of you routing them to the SSD cage in its default position. Now let's take a closer look at the SSD cage. These are individual brackets attached with 3 clips on each side, so prepare to be patient if you want to remove one of them. But here we have 3 brackets, so technically you can populate all of them, but you might have trouble connecting them with the usual L-shaped SATA cables. And that's why Corsair includes the Miller bracket to provide additional spacing. Now the 3.5-inch brackets are pretty standard, also a toolless approach, and includes mounting holes for SSDs, just in case the 3 above is not enough. Now coming around the back, we get an oversized CPU opening. Nobody should complain about swapping CPU coolers anymore, with plenty of rubber grommets and of course plenty of room for any type of cable mess. Now given both the cages are removable, a second dual radiator can be installed at the front. This of course means sacrificing the default storage options, but for many enthusiasts there's always a solution. Now with the radiator and a set of fans installed, this leaves 12.5 inches of clearance for your GPU, so thicker radiators are definitely not out of the question. And one thing to keep in mind though is when the bottom hard drive cage is removed, the motherboard tray loses some of its stability. Now it's nothing major, but I thought I should point it out. Now let's take a look at an almost finished assembly. If you ever worked with any Corsair case, you'd appreciate the experience. The Obsidian manages to clean up extremely well, basically without any effort. But when the build looks so professional and clean, you come to realize that it's not just a black box that you're working with, it's really an experience and a really joy to work with. So in summary, the Obsidian 350D is stylish and elegant. It has great water cooling options. Of course, if you're willing to sacrifice on the storage, we have great cable management, and there is absolutely no issues in the hardware department. Now, while I personally love the simple look of the front panel, you're obviously sacrificing on airflow, and I would love to see some ventilation integrated into it to keep up with this elegant design while still giving us a little bit extra airflow penetration. And this only being a micro ATX chassis, it's still a little steep to pay at such a high price. But even from the very beginning of the Obsidian lineup, these cases have not been budget oriented, but instead have always been regarded as sort of these luxury series. So the new Corsair 350 is breaking the lowest price point in the entire lineup, and definitely going to find the customers who want that Obsidian experience without taking out a second mortgage. And we're giving it the Hardware Canucks damn good award. So So thanks guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.